What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 9 of Driving to the Draft. We're back with more drafting tips. I've only got a couple more, at least from what I can think of. If you guys have any questions, as always, really don't hesitate to leave them in the comments, to leave them on Facebook, on Twitter. Links are in the description. And there's really not too much of a channel update this time. Just wanted to let you know, episode 13 came out this past Friday. If you guys haven't gotten a chance to check it out, please do so. As I mentioned in the last episode, it's pretty important to us, so we'd really appreciate it if you checked it out, and we hope you enjoy. Always let us know any feedback that you guys have on that. Jumping right into this week's episode, though, something that's important for drafting, and I slightly touched on it in other ones, but we're going to go a little bit more in depth, is in draft, because of the fact that you have X number of other people at the table with you, you're not necessarily, it rarely happens, you're not necessarily going to be able to play a single color and have your deck be monocolored or only one color. So when you play, you're going to have to probably look for a second color, depending on the format, maybe a third or fourth color, maybe all five. There are, in drafting scenarios and in sets, there usually is some kind of support for a 5-color deck. In like a Khans of Tarkir type of a format, you're really looking almost consistently for 3 colors just because of the clans. But otherwise, a typical, baseline draft format is usually every deck is going to be looking to have at least 2 colors in it, just because you're probably not going to get enough for just one. So what does that mean? Well, in pack 1, pick 1. If you're not picking for value and you see a bomb, there's a couple of things to consider. And one of the important thing to think about is you have a bomb that is red. Doesn't matter. But you have a bomb rare or mythic that's red, and you really want to take it. But in that pack, you also notice that there are 2 other red cards in the uncommon, 2 of the 3 uncommon slots in the pack. And those cards are also pretty good. Now, this is your pack 1, pick 1, right? So you're now going to take a card from that pack and pass it to your left. And the person to your left is going to see those 2 red uncommons. They're going to see that the rare is missing, and they're going to see 2 good red uncommons. Well, if one of those 2 red uncommons is the best card in the pack, they're likely going to take that red uncommon. Now they're going to pass that pack to their left, and they're going to see a good red uncommon. If that good red uncommon is the best card in the pack, they're likely to take that good red uncommon. If they do, right, it doesn't necessarily matter to you in pack 1, because what do you care? The person passing to you from your right wouldn't necessarily be taking red, and so you're going to get all the good red cards. Doesn't matter. In pack 2, the 2 people to your left who are going to be passing to you are now going to be taking possibly good red cards because you've given them good red cards, which means in pack 2, you're not going to see any red at all. So now there's a couple of ways that could go. Either you take the good red card and just realize that in pack 2, you're going to have to go for a second color and go for red in pack 3, use packs 1 and 3 for red cards and use pack 2 for whatever your second or third color is. Or, because you notice in pack 1 that there are 3 good red cards in the pack, and maybe the other uncommon is blue, and it's pretty good, and there are really no other good blue cards in the pack, maybe you just take that blue card, and you leave everyone to your left fighting over all of those good red cards. It's really up to you. And it's kind of, again, based on strategy, because if you take the one card that there is no other good card in that color in the pack, then you're pretty much set up, right? Because no one to your left is going to be in that color, because you're not giving them anything in that color to be enticed by. So you now, in pack 2, you're going to know that you're going to probably have your pick of blue cards, for example, whatever that color is that wasn't supported in that pack for everyone to your left. So it really depends on kind of what you want for yourself in terms of maybe how difficult you want, or if you want to kind of roll the dice, so to speak, to see if that person's going to take those cards or not kind of out from under you. And that kind of blends into the last thing I wanted to talk about in this episode, which is there's a phrase that people will use called staying open. And what that means is a lot of times you're going to see people at the end of pack 1, they have one color that they know they're in, right? They have a ton of good cards from that color that they know they're going to play, they know they're going to have in their deck, and then they have, so say red is that color. They have a ton of red cards, really good red cards, and they saw a lot of them. They were getting past a lot of them. They read the signals, as we talked about, from their right, that red was open, and now they're looking at, if a red card didn't come around, but there was a good green card in the pack. Now they have a good green card in their pool. Well, but then in two picks later, there was a good blue card. So they took that one as well. So by the end of pack 1, they've got a ton of red cards. They've got a good blue, a good green, and a good black, for example. Maybe they didn't see any good white. So now they have a choice, right? In pack 2, if for whatever reason, and I mean, they've been taking a bunch of it, but you could keep picking red, and you probably should. It's your main color. But if for some reason red dries up on you, you're still open to taking almost any other color. Because if you only have one or two good blue, green, black cards, you're not married to that second color, to that being your second color. You have other options, right? You have the ability to take a white card that's really, really good, because maybe you get that signal from your left in pack 2 that white seems to be really open on your left. Okay, so maybe you try to dip into white. Maybe you try to dip into, more black if more black cards come around. It doesn't necessarily matter, right? But you've left yourself open, either in pack 2 or later on in pack 1, to being available to take any color that's open. And that's kind of important, and it's a nice position to be in, because the people who have already committed themselves to one color or two colors or however many colors, but they know what colors they're in, they also know what colors they're not in. And so there are times where even really good drafters will tell you that they'll look through a pack, they barely even look at cards that aren't in their colors, especially if there are good cards in their colors still in that pack. Because then there's no need for them to look at cards that aren't in their colors if they're getting good cards in their colors. So stuff that you're getting, a lot of times in draft I hear, why is this card still here? Because it's such a good card, and we talked about top commons and uncommons last time. But you'll hear like, why is this card still here? And it's one of the top commons in the set, where it's possible to be first pickable. Pack 1, pick 1, and it's still there, pick 6 or something like that. Something crazy. And it's because some other people are so committed to their color, or they're going to force that one color, that they don't even see it, right? They don't even take a chance and look at it. So it gives you an opportunity. Staying open is a good possibility. Now, the other thing is, or the other kind of option is to take a risk. I talked about this, I think, in like the episode 7, but there's a possibility for you to take a gold card, right? There are some gold rares that are really good, gold mythics that are really good, and maybe you want to take those cards. Well, doing so early means that you're not going to leave yourself open, right? Because you're committing to, depending on what colors the gold card is, you're committing to two or more colors right off the bat, if you then want to continue to try to use those colors. So you're not really staying open. Again, still a viable strategy, and people do use it, and it's not a bad strategy, but it really just depends on what you want to do. So it's staying open versus taking risks. And it really depends on what you prefer and what kind of a player you are, or what kind of a player you want to be. determines, because a lot of times those gold cards are really, especially we're in Battle for Zendikar Oath of the Gatewatch drafting right now, and in this format, that's really what it is. If you open Stormchaser Mage and it's a blue-red card, gold card, it's likely that someone who is not in blue-red is not necessarily going to take that card. So even though the card is incredible, and it's an uncommon, and it's really good, and it's even used in some standard decks, if people aren't going to take it for value, if they're not in blue-red, that card is very likely to go around the table. And in some, pro drafts or semi-pro drafts or whatever you want to call it, you will probably see a very late Stormchaser Mage in maybe pack 3, right? Because, even though that card is so good, it's not going to be taken by someone who's not blue-red, because there are other picks in those packs for them to take that aren't Stormchaser Mage. And so what that means is you, as a blue-red drafter, will get rewarded for being in blue-red by getting that blue-red gold card. So, if everyone at the table is, I don't want to say drafting properly, because there's no wrong way to draft, or there are few wrong ways to draft. If you can justify the strategy for yourself, I'm not going to sit here and say that's the wrong way to do it, because it's not. Whatever you're comfortable with, and most people can justify almost anything, almost any decision that they've made. So I won't say it's the wrong way to do it, but if your draft goes very well, and you're in those two colors, and you're the only one in those two colors, those gold cards that are in your two colors exactly should be coming around to you even late, no matter how good they are. So you'll get rewarded for that later on. So, guys, getting to the end of my trip here, getting to the draft. So I wanted to say thank you guys so much for watching. Leave suggestions in the comments below, questions. If you want topics you want me to talk about, doesn't have to be drafting related. It can be drafting related. If you've gone to a draft, let me know what your experience was. Again, in the comments, Facebook, Twitter, any of those things. If you guys enjoyed, let us know. Check out the other videos on our channel. I'm sure there are annotations up here. I put those up there as often as I can. So check out some of the other stuff on our channel. And as I always say, guys, in whichever video you watch next, we will see you all next time. Thanks, everybody.